You may be wondering, well, why should I buy a house for 200,000 when that may not seem obvious to me? So here's 7 good reasons why you might want to run out right now and buy a $200,000 house, especially if you're renting. The first thing is, if you're waiting to find an affordable city to move to, according to the New York Times, the next affordable city is already too expensive. This is an article about Spokane, Washington, which was the next go-to place. It's in the Pacific Northwest, maybe close to Seattle, maybe a nice kind of rural community. But according to the article, too late. Home prices have jumped 60% in Spokane, and it's already behind Austin, where a lot of people have already looked at Austin. The point of the article is, even if you weren't looking to move to Spokane or Austin, any city that right now is affordable at some point will not be affordable, because the housing crisis that people are seeing in places like South Florida, New York, Chicago, Austin, people are looking, well, where's the next place that's cheap? People are willing to work anywhere and live anywhere because of the current market, and we'll look at that in another reason. The next reason that you might want to buy a $200,000 house right now is because if you're waiting for the market to go back down, according to many experts, here's one saying housing prices and interest rates aren't going back down. According to an expert, the mortgage rates just went up, and you might think, well, that might lower the house prices, but it's not. Things aren't going back down. DOB Financial Services CEO told Yahoo Finance Live. So we have to quit thinking this is a bubble and start thinking this is how it is now. This is the real thing. That's a good quote right there. Another supporting article of that is on Lifehacker, says, don't wait for a housing market crash. This market is not going to crash. The best time to buy is now, according to the article. Prospective home buyers who weren't lucky enough to get into the game, the hope of a housing market crash might be the one thing to hold on to, right? That might be why you're waiting, because you think it's going to crash. According to the experts, it's not going to crash, and the reasons why are all listed in this video and also in previous videos. But even though it's tough to predict what's to come, experts believe that we're in a seller's market for a while. How long? Well, it could be years before we see a normal housing market. Even this is a little bit misleading because it says normal. Well, what does normal mean? 3 years from now, normal might be what it is today. It might go up a little bit and come back down to what it is today. So it's unlikely the prices will come back down because this is an example of a person who owns a house, and they got this letter that says, I want to buy your house. And they're just sending random letters to people saying, hey, can I just buy your house, even if it's not for sale, right? Number 3 reason is, well, I could just rent. Well, rents are going up too. Rents reach insane levels. I'm sure you've seen that. And the eviction moratorium is just starting to be lifted, so the rents are going to go up even more. Rents in the U.S. are rising faster than home prices. So if you're thinking, well, rent would be better, the rents are going up faster than home prices. Plus, and we'll do a video about this later in the week, so be sure to subscribe, we can show you how you can lock in a payment of about $1,000 a month for a 3-bedroom home and never have to worry about your rent going up ever again. So how would that be? If you had a 3-bedroom home, detached house, pay about $1,000 a month, and never have to worry about being evicted, rent going up, prices changing, you're always locked in, and maybe having some profit from it. What's the next reason? Well, even if the home price doesn't go up and the rent doesn't go up, everything else is going up. Gas prices, grocery prices, there's inflation with everything. You've seen it. Some places, gas is higher. They're predicting gas is going to be $7 a gallon. And when gas is $7 a gallon, it affects trucking and shipping, and all the other prices go up. So even if your rent doesn't go up a penny, even if you can afford what you're spending now for rent, everything else is going to go up. So you probably want to look at options to reduce your home cost and prevent it going up in the first place. So again, $1,000 a month for monthly expense for property would be good. And they're not talking about just gasoline here. You're talking about groceries, insurance, all the other things that go along with it. What about location? Well, according to the Wall Street Journal, it doesn't matter where you live because Gen Zers will never work in an office. And it doesn't matter. because the new workforce is you can work anywhere, and companies are starting to create their business model around that. They're starting to say, well, let's put together a good business plan where you can work anywhere. And because of that, you can live anywhere, so you don't have to be locked into a market that the house prices are jacked up through the roof, because that's where all the big businesses are. You can live anywhere and still have a great job. Last but not least, this is what happens if you wait. Priced Out of Paradise. This was a great story by WPTV in Palm Beach, where they had a 3-part story interviewing a bunch of people that home ownership is vanishing for many millennials. Well, the reason why is because they're looking for a certain type of house in a certain area. The real estate market makes it impossible for the age group, millennials, to buy a house. Well, if you're looking at the mid-range of a house, 3, 4, 500,000, 600,000, not only is it going to be hard to find one because that's where everybody's trying to buy, but you might not be able to afford it. You know, a $500,000 house might be $3,000 or $4,000 a month with all your fees, insurance, taxes, everything else. But that's what everybody wants because those houses look nice. They look nice from the outside. They're modern, and that's what people think that they want. Above that, the prices are too high where there's not as big of a market in the million plus range. Below that, in the 200,000 range, there's not a lot of competition because a lot of people who can afford a house and have credit and income and a down payment, they think they're too good to buy a $200,000 house. So you're not going to run into competition where there's 50 bids on a $200,000 house. You can probably buy it, maybe even get a little bit of a discount, right, if you find a fixer-upper. It's scary when we look at these prices, 26-year-old Rebecca Lucataro says, right? This is a good quote. The closer to you get where everyone is, the higher it is. Well, what's the answer? Go to where everybody isn't. Eventually, they will be there, just like we talked about in Spokane. That was where everybody isn't at one point, but now it jumped up. So if you find the next place, even if it's not exactly what you want, $200,000 house, $1,100 a month, lock yourself in, wait for everybody to move there after you do, and then you won't be shut out. You won't be infuriated like this person, getting priced out and pushed out. So these are 7 reasons why it might be good to just jump on a $200,000 house. Worst case scenario, you have a place to live that's cheap. You have a roof over your head. You don't have to worry about your landlord jacking up your rent. You don't have to worry about your lease not getting renewed. You don't have to worry about maybe the market going up even more where you can't afford a house. At least you're in a house. If the market goes up, you will benefit from owning a house because the market's going to raise all the prices. Even if the market goes down, you will still be in a good place because the market for the more expensive houses will go down more. And in reality, how much can a $200,000 house go down? Can't really go down that much. So you're going to be in good shape if you start out with that. You just have to get over the fact that it may not be exactly what you think you deserve for a property, but financially, it'll be a great thing. And even worst case scenario, you have a roof over your head, so you won't be running into a house that has 14 offers on it already, 12 of those with cash, because you're looking at something that maybe the vast majority of people overlook because their eye is looking for something that's more flashy. Best of luck with your house hunting. Look for future videos about how to create that $1,000 a month payment so that you don't get shut out of homeownership as a vanishing dream for your financial future and also for your family's future.